Good evening. Thank you so much for coming tonight. Big night here for us, the orchestra and the band. Get a chance to present all the hard work we've been working on all year long, music, and a really extra special night for you. With several premieres, first time we've been able to do this kind of thing here in Armada. We're going to premiere for the very first time several pieces of music for you tonight. We have a guest in the audience tonight. I'm very happy to introduce Mr. Daryl Johnson, and he'll come up on the stage a little bit later in the concert and talk with you a little bit about some of the pieces that he wrote. We're going to have the opportunity to premiere tonight. So it's going to be a really, really great night of music. And without further ado, we're going to continue on with our next piece. piece we're gonna play for you is a piece that's entitled Night Shift, and it's entitled Night Shift for a reason. One of the things that we're working on as a group is actually shifting into new positions and allowing us to play an extended range of notes. And I'm having some students go around here to switch on different parts in the violin section. So this piece literally entitled Night Shift because what we're working on is shifting. Beyond that, it's actually just a wonderful piece of music that I hope you enjoy. Next is probably one of my favorite pieces definitely one of my favorite pieces on the concert. Definitely my favorite piece that the orchestra is performing tonight. And we're really lucky to have the composer who wrote this piece in attendance tonight. Earlier this summer, Daryl Johnson got in contact with me, and we set up an opportunity for him to come out and actually work with the students on a whole composition workshop today for 2 hours. It was absolutely wonderful. On top of that, he's graciously allowed us to perform for you tonight a piece that he wrote that's still in pre-publication stages that actually won't go into publication until the fall. And we're one of only a handful of orchestras that have had a chance to perform this in the country. So we're really honored to be able to have that privilege tonight. And on top of that, this morning, while Mr. Johnson was working with the students, he actually was unbelievable. In about 20 minutes, he had the students compose a short piece of music. And we were actually pretty surprised when it was all done. It actually sounded pretty good. Now, it's a start to a piece. It's not a complete piece, or maybe it is a complete piece, but it's only 4 measures long. And we thought it would be fun for you just to share what we were able to do, and a little introduction into composition. I think the way that Mr. Johnson presented this really gives the students some tools to actually go back and read and duplicate this on their own, and maybe dabble with some composition of their own. So he also, good idea or bad, let them title their own piece. So he took some suggestions, And the students had decided that this piece should be called Mushroom Sunrise. Thank you. So, fortunately or unfortunately, actually I surprised them with that. They didn't know they were going to be performing it until about 20 minutes ago. So, but fortunately for you, the piece that Mr. Johnson wrote is a really great piece. Maybe just a hair more involved, a hair little top notch. And I'm going to let Mr. Johnson come up and talk to you a little bit about the piece that he composed for the orchestra to perform for you called Boardwalk Casey. Let's please welcome Mr. Johnson to the stage.
All right, as Mr. Thomason said, I have to call him Keenan, but as Mr. Thomason said, my name is Gerald Johnson II, and I'm the composer of the piece you're about to hear right now. So I'm from the Los Angeles area, and I'll tell you a little bit about myself so that you understand a bit about what we're doing and how this whole thing works. So I went to college at a university in the Los Angeles area called Azusa Pacific University, where I spent 4 long but lovely years getting my music theory and composition degree. And after my 4 long but lovely years, I graduated and they gave me a diploma, and I walked out of the college and up to the proverbial forest of life. And as I stood there at the foot of that forest looking at the breadth and thickness of it, I started to freak out, thinking I have to go into that forest with this rolled up sheet of paper that says music on it no less, and just somehow make life work. And just when I was starting to freak out, I felt one of my professors tap me on the shoulder and say, "Hey Daryl, we like your work. Why don't you come back and get your master's degree? We'll give you a full ride, and you can get that. You don't have to worry about anything, and just do some work for us. You can get your degree." And so at that, I turned my back on the forest and ran back into college. And so during that time, I started working as a music transcriptionist, which means people will want sheet music for songs that don't have sheet music. So I'll listen to the song, create sheet music. I give them the sheet music, they give me money, everyone's happy. So that's a good thing for me. I started doing that, and I work on my master's while grading tens of thousands of music theory papers along the way. Toward the end of my master's studies, another one of my professors came up and said, "Daryl, I have an idea. I want to do a festival featuring living composers and new music, and I want you to work on it with me." And I said, "I like what I'm hearing here." And then he said, "And I want you to write music for each of these middle schools, 4 middle schools that will be participating, and we'll perform your music on the concert." And I said, "I like what I'm hearing here." And then he said, "And we'll pay you to write each one of these compositions." And I said, "I like what I'm hearing here." And then he said, "And as part of it, I want you to go work with each one of the middle schools leading up to the concert during their class." And I said, "I no longer like what I'm hearing here, because I'm not actually an outgoing, extroverted kind of person. The idea of standing in front of a class of middle schoolers like this was like terrifying to me. As I hadn't been in a middle school since I was legally required to be in one, and so I didn't have any understanding of what to do. I was like, do I have to show up and adore the Explorer costume, or how does this whole thing work? And I had no idea, sorry guys. And so after a while, my professor continued to encourage me to do this, and then he eventually convinced me to do it. And I'll never forget that very first morning before I had to go to the first school. I woke up at 5:45 a.m., which was the first miracle of the day, if you know me. And I got dressed and then hit the road. And I was just in time for one of Los Angeles' world famous traffic jams. And so I crunched down to like 5 miles an hour. And after like 10 minutes of that, I realized I'm 45 minutes away from this school, and I'm going 10 miles an hour. And it wasn't getting any better. And so I was freaking out. I remember turning off the radio because I didn't want any joy in the car while I was stressed out. And I was just like staring at the road, staring at the speedometer, staring at the road, staring at the GPS, staring at the road. And eventually it let up, but I was still late. I was about 10 minutes late, and I like parked at the parking lot of the school, ran inside huffing and puffing, and I was, late. But the good thing about it was that I was so stressed out and worked up over the traffic, I forgot to be nervous about presenting in front of the students. So I just stepped up, did it, and it went great. And then I did the other schools that were participating, and it went great, and the whole thing was good. So the festival went over, and I graduated, and I was out of college again, and once again at the foot of the forest of life. Except this time, at least, I had my music transcription thing going, so I didn't have to worry about too much. Now, you think after all these years of school, for me it was, 24 years of schooling, it'd be nothing but joy and bubbles of happiness at the end of all of that when you're done. And it was for a few months. But unfortunately for me, the other side of the graduate rainbow held a darker reality, and that was depression, unfortunately. I didn't know what happened, but I slid slowly into this kind of depression, where it was not a dark clinical depression, but this gray, somber, kind of gloomy depression that I couldn't figure out. And then I call age 24 through age 27 the dark years, because it was persisting. I didn't feel any purpose in living. I didn't see any reason to continue doing anything, and I didn't know why. And so toward the end of it, one of my friends came up to me with a CD-ROM and said, "Hey, Daryl, here's these guitar parts you asked me to record for you." And a year earlier, I had asked him to record some guitar parts for me for a project I was working on. So I took the guitar parts, went home, and I plugged them into my computer. And as I plugged them into my computer, I felt this jolt of energy go through me, and for the first time, I thought, I want to live. I want to live to finish this composition. I was telling my dad about it, and he was explaining to me, "Daryl, you have to operate within your design." Meaning, you have to do the thing that you were made to do. And actually, when I graduated, I stopped writing music. I was making enough money transcribing that I didn't need to write music, and so I just slowly stopped. And I realized, you're right, I need to start writing music again. So I started writing compositions, and I published my first composition, and it was, ta-da, yeah, it's all done, except no one knew it was published, no one was playing it, and I just had a whole lot of compositions that no one was doing anything with. And so I realized that would be my next struggle. So months later, I was laying in bed, thinking, as I frequently do as an insomniac, and I realized my professor years ago had made me a life-changing proposition when he set me up with those schools. And I realized I need to go do what my professor taught me to do. So I decided to organize a tour of schools in the Seattle area of Washington. And I got 10 or 12 schools to sign up. I went up there, worked with them on some of my music, and the whole thing went well. I was like, okay, maybe this is okay. And then I did some schools in Arizona the next semester, then Nevada, and then Colorado. And that was the end of the school year. Fine. The next year I did Montana, and then I did Idaho, and then I did Utah. And then over those years I did Washington, Colorado, Oregon, Utah, New Mexico, South Dakota, Alaska, Nebraska, Ohio, Kentucky, Indiana, Virginia, West Virginia, Maryland. And it kept going until, at this point, I've been to schools in over 40 states, and it's been an amazing journey. So now I'm 32 years old, 10 years removed from the first time I stood at the foot of that forest, and I can say I'm ever happier about what the forest has for me as I've continued to grapple with this situation. And so what I do when I visit the students is, what I did this morning, I go in, I conduct them, I talk to them about my intention, I talk to them about how it was created, take them through exercises kind of like what you just saw right there, and hopefully broaden the perspective. I believe that the future for music education for Generation Z, which is allegedly what we're calling these guys, is experience-based forays. I would really love to see math teachers inviting finance experts, architects, engineers in to talk about what they do. I'd love to see science teachers inviting biologists, English teachers inviting authors, and doing whatever we can do to give experiences to the students to bring life to the concepts and the abstract ideas that we're trying to teach them. And so it's been really good, and I'm looking forward to what the future has for me. I know someday I will be Mr. Thomason's age, and I want to make sure that I have all of the knowledge that I have ahead of me. So Boardwalk Casey is the piece we're about to play right now, just to give you a little bit of information about it. It's kind of like a light, happy Saturday afternoon. We're walking through a thoroughfare with nothing but optimism and brightness in your lens. So it's going to be kind of a bouncy piece, right? Kind of bouncy guy, remember that? Yeah, we were talking about that a little bit. Bouncy, spry, joyful, gleeful, and so as Mr. Thompson mentioned, it's in pre-publication. This is the last stage of it before it goes to print, and I hope you enjoy it. So.
Thank you very much. I just love playing that with the students, and they've worked so hard for it. Couldn't be more proud to be able to perform that piece for Mr. Johnson, and the students absolutely love performing it. So thank you for allowing us to perform that piece. Like I said, I've been extremely proud of the hard work that the students on stage have put in all year long. It's been a long journey, and they started off in a great place, and they're finishing in even a stronger place. And I couldn't be more proud of the hard work, the effort, the progress, and the enthusiasm they've had for music all year long, really. And from first visions at festival to having an opportunity to perform a brand new piece of music for the composer that wrote it, to all kinds of new experiences that the future holds for the students. Couldn't be more proud. So Before I send them off, we have one more piece for you. It's a tradition to do something current, something pop music or movie soundtrack related. So the orchestra has a special treat for you, featuring Mr. Keith Ottenbacher from KO Music, just down the road, has joined us on the drum set. He's also worked with our percussion for most of the year, and we're going to finish our portion of the concert with Royals. In all the preparation for this concert, I overlooked one detail, and that's remembering how many chairs go in each row for the next group. So, forgive me if I'm running chairs and stands around for the next group here, but we're going to do a couple chair changes, and then we're going to get the band out here. So being a percussionist in a band is a really challenging job, not necessarily because of the notes you have to play, it's because of the notes you don't get to play. So a lot of the percussionists spend a lot of time sitting and waiting while we work on all of the things that need to happen with the wind players, and then trying to fit their parts together. So, Clarence, if you could just... So, to give them an opportunity to really work on their skills and their playing, and give them a chance to really show off what they're able to do and what they're capable of doing, I've given them a piece. It's the first time we've done a percussion ensemble piece, and I think it's something we'll continue to do because they've had a blast working on it. Mr. Keith Ottenbacher has been helping them get this piece together during class. He's coming in once a week. They're really, really pumped to play this for you. So it's an opportunity for our percussionists to shine and show what they can do. So I hope that you enjoy this piece entitled Plastic Surgery. Probably guessed they didn't have any fun getting that ready for this concert. I want to take this opportunity to thank, if you came in through the main doors, which I'm assuming all of you did, hopefully you had a chance to opportunity to see all the artwork displayed out there, from the paintings to the drawings to the mosaic made from, if you didn't notice, Rubik's Cubes. Unbelievable, and all of that artwork is created by Mr. Kuhn's middle school art students. And Mr. Johnson came up with the idea and said, hey, what about incorporating some art in this piece from your art class? And I absolutely loved the idea. I approached Mr. Kuhn, and he was totally on board, and I couldn't be more excited to be able to showcase his stuff out there this evening. They put a lot of hard work in, and it turned out great. So. Now this concert's been all about tonight. The feature is new music, premiering new music, and I'm really, really pumped about this next piece. I was a little bit nervous because I didn't know how the students were going to react, because it's a slow piece, and sometimes that doesn't go over so well. Sometimes it does. In this case, I handed it out to him and I told him, look at the top right-hand side. And if they look, it says arranger Keenan Thomason. If you didn't know, that's me. So this is the first time I've actually had an ensemble of any kind perform a piece that I've arranged. And I'm really, really excited to have the band on stage here doing it for you tonight. I really felt like this was the year that we could really, really bring out all the musical ideas that I'm hoping will come through in this piece. Just a quick explanation, the difference between an arrangement and a composition. Mine is an arrangement because the difference in arrangement is compared to a composition. Because in a composition, every idea is brand new. In an arrangement, the arranger will take a piece or something that already exists and then create around that. So the piece that I chose is a melody, and it's an Irish air. So it's a ballad, it's a slow piece, a really beautiful Irish melody from the 1800s. So I've taken that and I've arranged a band piece around it, and I hope you really enjoy Daybreak. It's entitled Daybreak because the Irish air, the translation from Gaelic is the dawning of the day. So changed it a little bit. The piece of the melody and the harmonies have been changed a little bit. So therefore I've named the piece Daybreak. Before we play our final piece, there are so many thank you that I have to say. I'm sure I would forget some of them. If you've had any involvement in helping me tonight, please know that I am so grateful for the support and the help of not only the parents, the administration, Mr. Johnson, my family, everyone who's been part of tonight. This is a really big undertaking, and I couldn't be happier with the way it's turned out. Can't be more proud of the students and the hard work they put in to make tonight a success. So thank you to all of you who've helped. Thank you, Mr. Kuhn, all of our administration. Thank you to Mrs. Barbarette and Mrs. Monet, who've kind of headed up all the decorations and the refreshments. Please join us for the cafeteria right after. and countless other things. So Mr. Boback is running the lights up there and the microphones. Thank you for that, and countless other things that he's done to help me get this concert together. So thank you to everyone who's had a hand in that. So I'd like to give him a round of applause. I'm sure I'm forgetting something, but thank you. So our final piece tonight is the big one for us this year. As I mentioned, Mr. Johnson got in contact with me earlier this summer and mentioned that he's going to be in the area and he'd like to come out and give a composition workshop with my students. And first of all, I just thought that was a great idea. It's something that I've been wanting to do something like this, didn't know how to get it off the ground, and when we connected, it was the perfect opportunity. Absolutely 100% yes. I told him, you know, I've been interested in composition for a while. My master's research project was also in composition in the classroom, but incorporating it is not always easy. So another ambition of mine was to commission a piece of music, but I thought that would be years down the road in planning and fundraising. And he just happened to respond, "Great, I'd love to see you out there. By the way, I have an opening in my schedule if you are interested in commission this year." So my jaw hit the floor because it was late in the year when we connected, and usually the commissions need to be set up in advance of the same year that you're performing. So I ran to our administration and I presented this idea. I ran to the boosters. Everyone, from the first word out of my mouth was like, yes, 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 we love the idea. So the support that I got for this has been amazing. So we commissioned Mr. Johnson to write the next piece for us. It's entitled The Rescue. And so because it's a commission, it's specifically written for the band on stage. And it is going to be performed for the very first time tonight. Actually, Mr. Johnson heard it for the very first time this afternoon when we performed it for him. So it's a huge, huge honor to give the world premiere for this piece, and I couldn't be more honored to do so. I think Mr. Johnson's going to say a few words about the piece, so come on up, Mr. Johnson.
So yeah, it's pretty much, as he said, I do want to take a moment to say that the program here at Armada is actually exceptional in kind of a way. Like when you don't have the advantage of a big city population, it's really difficult to build a strong music program. And so I didn't mention it earlier, but when we did Boardwalk KC with the Strings, I'd only done it with about 10 or 12 schools, and Armada was, if not the first, tied for first, and tied for the first when I heard it as far as like the best schools doing it. And so it's a difficult thing when you have your music being played. Sometimes you pass it out for the first time and you're like, and then sometimes you pass it out and you're like, and so, you know, this was a great time being here. I was impressed with all that Mr. Thompson was able to do with this group. And I want to say when you have events like this and all the things that we're doing today, this is above and beyond the contract of a teacher, and it's entirely a heart project because he truly cares that much about your students' education. Really, doing some stuff like this it's totally unnecessary. And so I really would like to thank Mr. Thompson for taking this so seriously and doing all the things that he's done. When we talk on the phone for hours, going over the score and figuring out ways to teach the piece and figuring out ways to enhance what the students are doing. And so if you want to give him an applause for all of this hard work. Briefly about this, I'm going to look at the score just so I don't forget anything. As you mentioned, this will be the first time this will ever be played. After this, it's going to go onto the circuit, and it'll be played by a handful of schools while I refine some details and continue to test it. But this will be the first time, and it will go out with the Armada name on it and the pride of your community. And so it begins with solos. Now, there's a storyline to it, but we're still working that part out. So I'm going to speak in vague terms as we get through this. So we have a few of our hero soloists here. It's going to be my good buddy Cade, and my good buddy Jacob, and my good buddy Georgiana, I'm sorry, and my other good buddy, one more time, Evan. So those 4 of them are going to take on these solos themselves throughout the piece. So it starts with a solo, kind of like a mysterious sort of thing happening, and then the piece moves along kind of ambiguously until it looks like we have this tragedy where there's no hope and the piece kind of dies. And then we have the soloist reemerge from that to a grand rescue. So I'll let you color in the pictures within your own head, but it's supposed to be a triumphant, exciting rescue piece. That's what's called the rescue. And I hope you can create the wonderful color pictures that we've been doing throughout this process. And you guys did such a fantastic job today. This is a great school to premiere this. I was so happy to hear them do it this morning for the first time. So.
Thank you so much once again for coming out tonight and celebrating new music with us. I hope you had a wonderful night. Please join us in the cafeteria for refreshments, and the kids are really excited about cake. All right? Have a great night.